Hi everyone, it is Trinity here with Trinity on Trail. Thank you for joining me today. Today I want to talk about resupply. So when you're looking at how you're going to get your food on trail, there's three basic ways you can go about it. So first and foremost, you can do, which is tends to be your more expensive method, which is buying freeze-dried prepackaged meals, hiker meals. So for example, Mountain House, there's a variety of different companies out there. I'm not promoting anybody, but that is one way to do it. A lot of people rely on the quick freeze-dried backpacker meals. They are convenient. They also come in what I love is these resealable foil bags, a lot of them, so that you can prep your meal right in the bag itself, which keeps your pot clean. So you can just use your pot for boiling water. So that's one option. It tends to be, like I said, a little more pricey. On average, you're looking at from what I've seen, between $10 to say $17 per meal. And when you're looking at, months of being on trail, 3 meals a day, that adds up really quickly. So, if you've got the budget for it, by all means do it. So that's sort of the pros and cons of those. Another way of going about it on the other side of the spectrum is you can prep and freeze dry and dehydrate all your own foods. I had some friends on trail, and that is exactly what they did for the AT. It takes a lot more prep in advance, but if you know you're going to be doing a long distance hike and you want to do that, that is an excellent option. You can pack up foods that you know specifically are things that you're going to like, and then ship them to you on trail in your resupply boxes. One, probably the most cost effective. Two, you can control what goes into it a lot more than you can with the freeze-dried meals. So if you're wanting to eat a little healthier, if you're wanting to avoid like the sugars or the additives, stuff like that, definitely doing your own meals up in advance is a good option. It'll definitely help you on the budget as well. But for most backpackers, hikers, I think they do sort of like a midway point, which is what I do, and that is purchasing your food on trail. That's what I did for the AT. I purchased almost all of my food on trail. I only had 2 or 3 resupply boxes sent to me on the entire length of the AT. And what I liked about that is that most towns, at least on the AT, towns were readily available, and most towns had either a Dollar General or a Walmart in them. So you could easily access a variety of different foods that you can pack up. They're great for backpacking, and they're a lot more friendly on the budget. So that's what I did for the AT, but I'm going to switch things out a little bit more for the PCT. For the PCT, because the distance between resupply points is much greater than it was on the AT. And then a lot of times the distance, not only between resupply points, but the distance off trail to get to the resupply points, in some cases can be like 20 miles. So that's significant. So I've decided to go a different route for the PCT for resupply, and that is the resupply box. So I've had a lot of food donated to me, and we've acquired a lot of food, watching for sales and stuff. Things that I know I normally pack for my hiking adventures, and then what we're going to do is divvy them up into 3 meals and a couple of snacks a day, and then put those in resupply boxes, and then we will ship those ahead of where I plan to be on trail, to the post office, general delivery, and then I'll just go in there and pick those up, open everything up, stuff it into my bear vault, and then I'm back on trail. I think for me that's going to work better. It allows me, one, to still maintain my budget, but two, it's just going to be it's just going to be easier for me to do it that way. When we're talking about resupply, there's a couple of things you need to know besides just what you like to eat. When you're looking at resupply, you need to know the distance between your resupply points. You also need to know your pace. How many miles a day can you do, and are you comfortable doing? Once you know your pace and the distance between resupply points, you can figure out how much food you need to carry. So what happens if the distance is substantial, like on the PCT? Say you're looking at 153 miles in between points. If you were only doing, say, let's do 10 miles a day, well, then you know that it's going to take you 15 plus days to get to your next resupply point if it's 153 miles. So you either have to carry 15 plus the 2 extra days supply of food, so 17 days, or you have to either hike faster or eat less. On the sections where the resupply is substantial, I will hike more miles so that I can get there sooner. And I'll also eat less food on trail for that duration, so that I don't get stuck carrying, a ridiculously heavy backpack. Let's have a look at what I'm going to be bringing. I had some friends from the AT, Foxtrot and Rambo. They did all their meal preps in advance. They vacuum sealed all of their food up. And then they found that they had much more food left over at the end of their hike than they anticipated. They ended up donating all of their extra food to me. My entire hike is for breakfast and snacks is pretty much taken care of. So that means I don't have to cover as much food. So let's have a look at what I'm bringing. All right, so here you can see some of my resupply boxes. This is food that we've either had donated or I have purchased or we've been gathering up in the previous few months. So quite a bit of food, lots of different varieties. And now let's look at specifically some of the things that I'm going to bring. What does my meal plan look like? So here, if you have a look at my table, I have a assortment of everything. So I've got my breakfast samples, my snacks, my lunch, and my dinner plan. I also have over here my Bear Vault. Because that also is another limiting factor on how much food I can carry, how much food I'm going to bring with me. I know from personal experience, I can fit comfortably about 9 days worth of food in there. Anything less than that, and I'm going to have to pick up my miles. So I know roughly that will carry me for 9 days, so I can adjust my pace accordingly. Also to think too, when you are doing a Bear Vault such as this, you need to put anything that has a scent in there. So not just food, but like toothpaste, deodorant, anything you might bring with you that has scent, it also has to go into the Bear Vault. So that limits your room for food as well. So here we've got a couple of examples. We'll start over here with my breakfast. Here's it's oatmeal, powdered milk, I think some protein powder or some chocolate or coffee in there as well. That is a donation from my friends Foxtrot and Rambo. Great for, a quick morning breakfast. Another thing I like to eat, not just for breakfast, but for snacks on trail, are peanut butter wraps. So I'll get myself a jar of peanut butter. I like, peanut butter and hazelnut spread, so I mix them together. So I've got lots of food to energize me, but things like my peanut butter Nutella, that lifts my spirit too. That and coffee. Those are my two go-tos. But also for snacks and stuff, I have some protein powder packets. I have a variety of different granola packets, different breakfast bars or protein bars. I've got these ones here. I love these ones. These ones are from Aldi, actually, and they're 20 grams of protein in each bar, which is substantially more than a lot that I've seen commercial ones on the market. Another snacks that I love to eat are granola. So we've got all the makings here for some granola, or some trail mix. So I'll do, like I've got dried pineapple, I'll do banana chips, raisins, dried cranberries, an assortment of nuts. Sometimes just as an extra little treat, I might throw in some chocolate chips or something in there as well, or some M&Ms, and that just gives me a little, again, more of a mood boost than anything else. For lunches, what I like to do is I can either do like a tuna bowl or a tuna wrap. I get the meat. So I've got chicken, I got tuna. On the AT, I did spam, a lot of spam, and a lot of summer sausage as well. I'll be using less of those. And then for dinners, my go-to is my ramen bomb. So I will do like a packet of ramen, and then I will mix into that some instant mashed potatoes. Obviously, I am not packing out an entire box of instant mashed potatoes, but I can package that up into small Ziploc bags and bring that with me. Add that into the ramen, stir in some pepperoni slices and some hard cheese, like cheddar or Swiss. Those are fairly shelf stable even in the warmer weather, and they'll last. I've had them last like 3 to 5 days before I've eaten all of them with no mold, no issues. So that's another thing. And just to give me a little boost too, sometimes with my water and that, or the protein shakes, I'll also add in some gelatin just to give me that little bit extra. I did buy a couple of the instant meals, but more for just, like I said, they're reusable bags, the foil bags that seal up. It's a great way to make your meals and keep the mess contained to the Ziploc, so that your camp pot stays nice and clean. You can just use that for the boiling water and then add it. The other thing too is on the AT, I did hike. I started out the hike with cold soaking. So you just get a small container, like something like, say, the size of this peanut butter jar, or an ice cream container, with a lid that seals nice and tight. And then what you would do is you'd put your food in there. So say if I wanted, ramen for dinner, then what I would do is, either in the morning or at my lunch break, I would put my ramen into my container, and then I would add the water, cold water, to it, close the lid, and by the time I got to camp, it would have rehydrated, and then I could just sit down and eat it. So, I will cold soak on the PCT, but only if there's like fire restrictions, or if I get to a place where they don't have my camp fuel, my stove fuel available, then I'm prepared to cold soak. But again, it's not just fueling your body, but fueling your mind as well. And cold soaking is really, really rough, especially on cold or wet days. A little warm drink or a warm food on those days makes hiking so much easier. So that is sort of it for me. That's my plan and my preparation. Now we're just busily working out where we're going to send the resupply boxes to. They'll be broken down, box 1 from this point to that point, point A to point B, and it will have the number of meals and snacks that I need in it to get me from point A to point B. So each one will be a little different. By doing it this way, I can actually save myself some money. So that's it for me for now. Thank you for joining me. Please hit like and subscribe. Trinity on Trail saying, see you down trail. Bye-bye.